Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hey, my name is Jed Lee. Welcome to Reading with Your Kids. We are coming to you from the beautiful, book-loving neighborhood of Reedville, the loveliest little neighborhood in all of Boston. We're so happy that you're joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. You can join us in our mission by telling all of your family and friends about the show and letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network, and they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, Amazon Music, Audible, CastBox, Player FM, YouTube. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. The theme of today's show is how can we help kids and families cope emotionally with childhood cancer? Our first guest will be Dr. Katerina Levi. She is the author of The Healing Garden, which is a new concrete tool for families and educators and clinicians. Later in the episode, we'll revisit a powerful conversation with Cassidy Stocker, a young cancer survivor who's raised over $10,000 for gifts for kids in hospitals. That conversation first aired a couple of years back, but I think this message is even more important today.
In a quiet hospital hallway where the lights feel cold and gray, Alex meets a gentle bear who says, you don't have to be okay. There's a secret little doorway to a place where hearts can grow, a healing garden full of wonder, where feelings get to show. In the healing garden, we're not alone. Every feeling has a home. Fear can whisper, tears can fall. Love is stronger than them all. With bubble breaths and open hearts, we grow brave right where we are. Healing's more than medicine. It's connection, kindness, hope, and love. Plant a seed of what you value. Draw a map of how you feel. Name the storms and name the sunshine. Make the inside world feel real. Anger, sadness, worry too. They don't mean that you are weak. They're just messages inside you. Learning how to gently speak. In the healing garden we belong. We are brave. We are strong. Even on the hardest days, hope grows in the smallest ways. You are more than what you're fighting, more than scars or hospital rooms. You're a child with endless light inside, still growing, still in bloom. In the healing garden, hearts can mend with bear beside you, my friend. Healing grows in all we do. Encourage, care, and you.
Join us right now from Long Island in the state of New York. Our guest is here today to celebrate her new picture book. It's called The Healing Garden, a story about coping with childhood cancer. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Katerina Levi. Dr. Kat, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jed. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm very excited to share the Healing Garden with you and your listeners.
It's such, I think it's really such an important thing. The fact is, your kids, unless you're homeschooling your kids and they have no contact with anybody outside of your home, cancer is going to affect your kids, whether it's a relative, whether it's a classmate, it's around us. It's unlike when I was growing up where no one talked about it. We're open about these things, which is much better. So those of you who are thinking, book about cancer, I don't want to deal with this and I'm going to go get a new episode, stay with us, because this is very, very important. So tell us about the Healing Garden, please.
Yes. So as a clinician specializing in pediatric mental health, I've worked with children who present with a variety of different medical conditions. And cancer is one of the childhood diseases that is really difficult. And treatment for cancer has many demands, both physical and emotional. The statistic is that over 400,000 children are diagnosed with cancer globally every year. And unfortunately, there are not many psychosocial resources for children with cancer to help them cope with the emotional aspects of this diagnosis, and also the treatment-related stress that follows. So because of this in my clinical work, I authored this book. So this book takes place in the Healing Garden, which is actually a real place at Broward Health Medical Center in South Florida, where I recently completed my residency. So the Healing Garden in that hospital is connected to the Pediatric Infusion Center for patients that were receiving cancer treatment. And I often utilized that space and garden to provide support to my patients and their families in a setting that felt safe and calm to them. And so I really wanted to bring this special space, its calming and healing effect, to all of the children and families in similar circumstances. And so that's why this book takes place in the garden. Essentially, the story is about a boy named Alex who has cancer, and the book follows him through every part of his experience, from the time that he gets his diagnosis to understanding his treatment and also being admitted in the hospital for a long time, and also taking medication that he's not very fond of. In the garden, he meets Bear, who's really a special character in the book because he provides evidence-based psychological interventions that have strong support in cognitive behavior therapy and acceptance commitment therapy that are used and delivered in a developmentally appropriate way for children in order to have them understand them and cope best with some of the emotional challenges that arise, things like worry, frustration, anger, and even sadness too. So for example, Alex learns to cope with feeling frustrated about taking his medication, feelings of sadness associated with being in the hospital for a long amount of time, the worry regarding the side effects of treatment, such as feeling fatigued, experiencing hair loss, as well as loss of routine, and even engaging in activities that he once used to enjoy. The special part of this book is that there is also a guide at the end for parents discussing the use of the skills that are embedded within the narrative and helping them guide their children in using those skills to cope.
Now you said an awful lot about Bear that kind of went over this old man's head. So talk about some of those techniques you said, clinically proven, I think you said, techniques. So what is Bear's not going to sit the kid down on the couch and take out a pad and kind of that stuff, right?
No. So it does have an element of fantasy too, but yes, Bear teaches Alex that all of his feelings have space. So children can feel two things that may feel opposite at the same time. So for example, Alex can be angry and still take his medication. Both things can be true, even though it seems like it might be kind of opposite, that he can feel angry and then not want to take his medication. But actually both things can be true, and teaching children that essentially there is room for that allows them to make space for some of the things that they experience that can be kind of confusing. Also relating to like different coping strategies like deep breathing and other relaxation techniques to help calm Alex's body down that can help him think clearer and reduce the feelings of anxiety that he has by calming his parasympathetic nervous system. And additionally, this idea that children who experience cancer often deal with a lot of loss. As I mentioned, like loss of things that they used to enjoy doing. They may not be in school. And Bear teaches Alex how to still stay connected to a lot of the things that matter to him, maybe in different ways, given the limitations that may exist, but still really inspiring that kind of hope and identifying alternatives.
Yeah. I imagine one of the things that kids diagnosed with cancer lose are friendships. That must be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I would say that it's something that can be common sometimes. But surprisingly enough, I've seen like in the clinical space that other children are actually really supportive. I would say in patients that I've seen in the past where schoolmates and classmates really, there's such an outpour of support for children who go through such a difficult and oftentimes very long treatment process.
Yeah. You know, I've had the honor of knowing actually it's two young women who dealt with cancer. One was a young woman here in the neighborhood that attended school with my kids, and what an incredibly brave young woman who was determined to graduate from high school, despite the bone cancer that was literally she was losing pieces of her body monthly or quarterly. She did make that goal. She did travel with her class to China. It was amazing. It's a shame that we lost her. Another young woman I met through the podcast, Cassidy Stocker, whose mom is an award-winning author and who's been on the show, and Cassidy's been on the show. She is still fighting, and it's incredible. Cassidy is a kid. I am so impressed with her. I wanted to vote for her for president in the last election, but she was a little young. But in her, as she was going through this, instead of thinking about herself, she started a foundation that got toys and gifts and things like that for the other kids that were battling. And so she's been home. I believe she's healthy right now, but it's like that thing that, you know, you go into remission and this is great and we think everything's well, but it's always kind of like a cloud hanging over your head that might come back.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's so true what you say. I mean, many children often experience that worry and that anxiety and the fear, because it can be something that is so life altering and impacts the child as much as it impacts the family too. And there's always that fear of relapse.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm imagining, somebody listening to this would say, well, thank goodness I don't need the healing garden because my kid doesn't have cancer and we're going to pray. But I think this is a book that I really think, in addition to helping a kid who has cancer, I think it's a book that all kids could benefit from. Tell me if you agree with me. I just think it would be wonderful if we, for example, when Jamie, my son's classmate, when she was going through this, if we had this book, that would have made it easier for me to talk with my kids about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a good point. I had developed this book really as like a therapeutic resource for children who were experiencing the diagnosis. But I think it can be something that's valuable for clinicians, educators, teachers, social workers, and parents alike to be able to share with their children a little bit about what some of the inside things that occur in terms of cancer treatment, and share ways to cope with the diagnosis too. So I think it can be valuable even if it was read like in a school setting as well.
Yeah, yeah. And helping, one of the things that we love about reading with our kids is that it helps our kids develop empathy for others. And I think that this is obviously a book that could really help a kid develop more empathy for a classmate or a neighbor who may be dealing with cancer.
Yes, absolutely. I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, you were telling us that the story is based on a real place, a hospital that you were doing your residency at, and you are a recent graduate and all of that. Very, very busy life. Where did you find time to write a kid's book? And why, instead of going out and being with your friends, did you say, no, I'm going to take this little valuable free time I have, and I'm going to write a kid's book instead of going out and being with my friends?
That's definitely a great question. I think I was just really, truly so inspired by the place that I did my residency at. I had such a positive experience, and the psychology team is so valuable to me. And I just felt like it was a very unique space. Though I've specialized in health psychology and have had several training experiences in this setting, this is really the first time that I think therapy with cancer patients looked a little bit different. And I felt that there was something about the garden that is really embedded in this hospital that brings an atmosphere that is really warm and therapeutic and slow and has a healing presence. And I thought it would be a really great children's book. My dissertation was actually on the development of bibliotherapy. So writing children's books has been something that I've been in the works for through my graduate training. So really this art of embedding evidence-based techniques within children's storybooks to help their social emotional well-being has been an interest of mine for many years.
Yeah. We haven't used the word bibliotherapy for a while. I'm glad you brought it back and reminded me of it. It really is an incredibly valuable technique. Can you talk a little bit more about why you think it's so, reading with your kids is such a great therapy?
Yeah, definitely. I think for one, children's storybooks provide this really like non-confrontational, natural way for parents, caregivers, and other adults to open up conversations with children in a way that doesn't feel as confrontational or harsh, and can be like a really natural segue to getting to topics that are quite sensitive or difficult to approach. That's one reason. Another is that children really connect well to characters within the storybook. And so even reading a book, children can often identify with the characters in the book. And that also helps because sometimes when the topics can be quite sensitive, it may be difficult for a child to talk about it in the sense of themselves. Mm-hmm. However, relating it to a character can be a little bit more natural and easier to do. And then it also serves as a way of like allowing children and families to have access to mental health resources in a way that's like truly so accessible and easy. It's a different kind of delivery of mental health services.
Yeah. I'm curious, working with kids with cancer and working with people with mental health issues, who takes care of you? Have you developed a system, a support system, so that your needs are being met?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's definitely an important part of practicing what you preach. I would say that I have a wonderful support behind me. My mom, who's also a clinical psychologist, and my brother, they have been a really strong source of support for me throughout my graduate studies, my journey as an author and clinician too. So absolutely. And finding time to receive that support, whether it's from others or even in other ways that don't involve other people, whether it's exercise or listening to music, and really having some time to take care of yourself is important.
Yeah. You know, the thing that you mentioned about Bear teaching, the patient with, cancer that
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to be mad.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an incredibly important lesson for any of our kids because there are times and it was a lesson I think I learned when I was, 22 and working in the mental health industry with kids who were in the juvenile justice system
Mm-hmm.
and losing a kid. And, my director very, very wisely said, it's okay to be angry with God. It's okay. And boy, I was. And that just hearing that really helped and helped you get through that. And so I think that's a great lesson for all of our kids to know. It's like, whoever it is, you get something that's not going really well. It's okay to be angry and deal with it.
Absolutely. All feelings, there's space for all the feelings that we experience. And they're all valid, and there's a great way to be able to cope with it and also to receive the validation that that's okay. It's all right to feel that way. We're entitled to our feelings.
Right, right. Now that the Healing Garden is out there and you're helping kids with cancer, helping kids, brothers and sisters of kids with cancer, classmates, are you planning on writing other kids' books about other topics?
Yes, absolutely. I am actually in the process of publishing really the first book I wrote, which was part of my dissertation, which is on the topic of emetophobia, which is the fear of vomiting, which ironically impacts 8 to 10% of people. So it is more common than we think and can be really, really debilitating. But in terms of like health psychology topics, I thought about books addressing chronic pain, sickle cell, perhaps even a book on diabetes. I think these are all conditions that can benefit from the integration of skills within a narrative to allow children to cope.
Very good. That phobia, imminent, tell me again.
Emetophobia.
Emetophobia.
Yes.
So, it's emetophobia. So there are people, and I don't mean to make light of this because it would be horrible, but they're literally like, I'm not going to eat that because I might throw up, or you eat something and like, oh my goodness, I'm going to throw up now. And
yes, absolutely. It's common, and oftentimes it comes from can stem from like an initial trauma with vomiting, whether it's like getting the flu really badly and feeling like that was so scary, especially for a child, to feel like that was so frightening. And vomiting is this thing that occurs very abruptly and can be quite scary for kids. So, yes, and that fear can really restrict them from eating. It can restrict them from going to school, from being around other kids, and really take over because they're so worried about getting sick or vomiting. So definitely.
Wow. Since we brought it up, what could be a red flag that a parent should be aware of that their kid might be dealing with this?
Yeah, it can be avoidance of school. It could be avoidance of eating. It could be, but all of it would really need to stem to like the fear of vomiting. So like my child is not eating, or they're checking like expiration dates on food only because they're scared of vomiting, or they're avoiding kids at school who might be sick or who are jumping around only because they might vomit or they might get sick. So yes.
Learn something every day when you listen to Reading with Your Kids. I love it. So, look at you're a psychologist. You are a children's book author. Is there anything else that you're looking to do in your young life?
That's a great question. I mean, the road ahead is definitely long, and I'm someone who really likes to create new opportunities and explore new possibilities. So I'm not sure, but when I discover the next step, I will definitely let you know.
Awesome. That's great. Hey, where can people go to find out more about the Healing Garden, a story about coping with childhood cancer, and also find out more about you?
Yes. So for more about the book, I It's available on Amazon by just searching The Healing Garden, a story about coping with childhood cancer, and also on Google by inputting the title as well as my name. In terms of learning more about me, I would say I don't have a very public website or anything like that at this time, but I would say the book is really the first thing that I've put publicly.
Awesome. We've had a great time speaking to the author of The Healing Garden, a story about coping with childhood cancer. Our guest has been Dr. Katerina Levi. Dr. Kat, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Jed, for having me on the show. I really enjoyed talking with you and sharing The Healing Garden with your readers and listeners.
We just heard how stories like The Healing Garden can help kids cope with cancer. A couple years back, I spoke with an incredibly impressive young woman, Cassidy Stocker, who lived that reality. And she turned her pain into compassion and action. I want to share my conversation with Cassidy again because she is an incredible young woman. She's going to tell you how she raised over $10,000 to bring gifts to other kids who were in hospital, suffering and dealing with their own journeys. Cassidy has since turned Gifts for Gold into a recognized nonprofit organization. Man, I told you she was impressive. I think you're going to fall in love with this young woman. You're certainly going to be inspired by her story.
She stood up brave when she was down, turned her pain into a light for every child in town, with a heart of gold and a story to be told. She gives hope to the weary, that's gifts for gold. Little hands still fighting, big dreams still bright. She brings laughter in the dark, makes their hearts take flight. For every little hero with courage untold, for every tear turned into joy, for every hand we hold, we sing your name, we sing it bold. Cassidy's song of comfort, gifts for gold. In every room of quiet fear, she brings music to the brave and wipes away a tear. Love and laughter fill the air, where hope once seemed so far, now you'll find it there. From the first spark of sunrise to the quiet of the night, we'll walk beside you, fight the fight, with hearts of gold shining bright. For every little hero with courage untold, for every tear turned into joy, for every hand we hold, we sing your name, we sing it bold. Cassidy's song of comfort, gifts for gold. With hearts of gold, we'll always be close. In every corner of the world, it's you we love the most. Gifts for gold, Cassidy's song, forever felt, forever strong.
Joining us right now from right outside of Louisville and the beautiful state of Kentucky. Our guest today is a really, really special guest. She's been doing lots of great things for lots of kids that need great things happening in their lives. Please welcome to the show, Cassidy Stocker. Hey, Cassidy, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm really excited to have you on the show. I learned of Cassidy through her mom. Her mom, Shannon Stocker, is an author and was recently interviewed on the show. And she told me about her wonderful daughter who is raising lots of money for kids in hospitals. And why don't you tell us what's going on here? First off, who are you raising money for?
I am raising money for kids in the hospital, more specifically kids with cancer, because I know what it's like to be a kid with cancer in the hospital. And when you I raise money to give gifts to kids, because whenever I got a gift in the hospital, I felt less alone, more happy, and just like people cared about me. So I wanted to make sure that the same could happen for every other kid in the hospital, because it's important that when you're in the hospital having medications that make you sick, that you feel loved.
Yeah. And that really is true when you're battling cancer, which you battled. The way they battle it is by giving you poison. That's one of the ways they do it.
Unfortunately, yes. I got very sick after each chemotherapy, vomiting and nauseated, and it's no fun, especially when you have to do 21 chemotherapies or 100 chemotherapies. I just did 21, but I know people who have had over 100. So it's just, and some of those people are younger than I am. It's crazy, and it's completely unfair.
It is unfair, and I wish, I don't know if your mom told me, I do magic shows at schools across the country, and I'm up on stage doing these miracles, and the miracle that I really wish I was able to do would be to go to a hospital and wave a magic wand and make everybody well, but I only pretend to do magic on stage. But I think what you're doing is real magic. You're bringing love to kids and helping them feel loved and helping them feel less alone. You mentioned something that when you're in the hospital, receiving a gift, it made you feel less alone. I'm imagining some people might be thinking, how can you feel alone in a hospital? There's all those nurses and doctors and aides and people coming in to give you this shot and this medicine and fluff up your pillow and turn you over. And how is it that you feel alone at that moment?
Sometimes it's just because everyone who's taking care of you, usually they are well. So you feel alone in your sickness, like no one else understands you. Because I didn't have chemo in rooms with other kids. I had chemo in my own room. So sometimes that makes you feel like you were the only one who was having this therapy and you're alone in the world.
Wow. What was that like, if you don't mind me asking, what was it like when you heard the doctor say that you had this thing called cancer, and that the way to treat it would be to poison you?
I threw my shoe at the wall. I screamed, and then I asked my mom if I could have a dog. I was very, very, it scared me to death because my tumor is in the center of my brain on my control center. So I'm lucky I never had seizures, but it was always nausea, vomiting, headaches, and fevers for me. But it was terrifying, but at the same time relieving, because people had told me it was all my anxiety. It was all in my head. I needed to stop being anxious and I would feel better. And my tumor is on a place that physically causes anxiety in these symptoms, so I couldn't stop it. And so I always felt like I was doing something wrong. So it was relieving to know that it wasn't just my imagination.
Yeah. Now, I heard your security officer in the background. I'm guessing that after you threw the shoe and you screamed and you told your mom you wanted a dog, she said, okay.
Yes. My dog is my service dog. She smells the changes in hormones when my tumor grows and can alert to it.
Whoa, this is incredible. Tell me more about that. Now, first off, what's your dog's name?
Sophie.
Sophie. So, Sophie's with you?
Yes.
Yeah. And you're telling me that Sophie is able to smell and know when you're, well, we're looking at, oh, there's Sophie. I thought we were looking at the back of Sophie. Sophie's a beautiful black poodle. Mm-hmm. And Sophie is actually able to smell a change in your hormones?
Yes, when the tumor grows. Or when I have a sickness. She actually alerted before I had a fever because of a cold.
Wow.
Because tumor symptom was fevers. So she's very smart.
I guess she is. That's amazing. I was just talking to my friend who is actually helping to train a seizure dog or a service dog that helps folks with seizures, and that dog can sense when a person might be ready to have a seizure so the person can get themselves safe so they won't fall and hurt themselves. I'm wondering how in the world somebody came up with that idea, let's train dogs to do this, or even just had the idea of, wow, maybe dogs can do this thing.
Well, what I'm thinking is that when we figured out that dogs have like many times greater sense of smell than we do, people might have wondered, or how they react when we have different emotions. Maybe they smell the emotions off of us.
Tell us a little bit more about this project where you're raising money to buy gifts for kids in the hospital. How much money have you raised so far?
Over $10,000.
Wow. And how specifically did you do that?
I have a passion for painting. I love to paint. And so I will paint pictures and auction them off online. I use YouTube videos or pictures and then base it off of YouTube videos or pictures.
Now, do you have a favorite subject that you like to paint?
I love painting landscapes.
Ah, neat.
My favorite thing to do that I've done more than anything else is lakes.
Lakes. And are you painting real life lakes, or are these lakes that you create in your imagination?
Lakes that I'll look at online. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the first lake I painted was online, a lake that was like a video, a how-to, and then so this is the online, this one.
Oh, I'm looking at this painting. It's a sunset.
Yes.
And it's brilliant. The sun is like a brilliant pink in a blue sky, and then the shimmering waters. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, I love looking at things online to see what I can do off of it and see how I can make it my own. That was the first lake I ever did, which was a copy of something online. But now I do lakes that are all my own.
Is it hard for you to part with the paintings when someone purchases them?
Sometimes it is, but sometimes just it's awesome to know that I'm parting with a painting for money that will help other kids. Yeah. And I'll be able to bring gifts for them in the hospital. I usually don't even get to see the kids mm-hmm. who give the gifts, but the few times when I've gotten to see the kids, it's just when their faces light up. It's so sweet.
Yeah. Now, it sounds like you're not raising money for some foundation. You're actually raising money, buying the gifts yourself, and then bringing them to the hospital. Wow, that's really super. What kind of gifts do kids in the hospital like to get the most?
Well, I love things like crafts and stuffed animals. So I bring things. I actually brought a Switch for a kid once for a family that didn't have a lot and lots of siblings. We found out about this, and so we got them a Switch with games.
Ah, neat.
And so we brought Switches before. We've brought stuffed animals, tons of stuffed animals. We'll have huge bags just full of stuffed animals, crafts, and just anything really that neck pillows.
Yeah.
And port shirts, because here's my scar for where I had a port right here. There are also little dots all all along below it where they stuck the needle. Mm-hmm. So a port shirt is where you can unzip just a place right by the shirt, right by the port, and you can open it up and they can just stick a needle there without having to unzip the whole thing and be completely just exposed.
Yeah. Cassidy, you told us that your initial reaction when you heard that you had cancer was anger. And I completely understand that.
And sadness. Mainly sadness. Yeah. I was angry at the world and sad. Yeah. And surprised.
So how did you go from being sad and scared and angry to the point now where you're bringing so much love and joy and hope to kids? How did you manage that transition?
Well, I think when I was sadness and anger, that was an initial reaction, but I couldn't stay like that forever because that's not a way to live life. I ended up realizing that every day is precious. You never know when something bad is going to happen. You never know when this is all going to end. So you can't live if you can't live last days or way from last days. You can't live any of your days angry and sad because you never know if you'll even get tomorrow.
I am humbled speaking to you because you have so much wisdom. You're in the 7th grade, so I'm thinking you're around 12 or 13. I don't ask young women their age, so I'm just guessing. But you're so wise at such a young age. Have you always been this wise, or was just facing this? Mom says yes. Cassidy says
no. I'm gonna say no because I've tried, but going through, I've definitely become wiser than I was through chemo. I had a pretty perfect life before chemo, during chemo, and after chemo because of all my family. Honestly, I would do chemo again if I could live with my family for the rest of my life.
Wow. That's beautiful. I know that there are parents out there that are listening to this who are in awe because their 12 and 13-year-olds will come home sometimes and scream and shout about how much they hate their life because they didn't get to go to the prom or they didn't get the $150 sneakers that they wanted. How can the parents that are listening to this help their kids gain the wisdom that you have about the preciousness of that every moment, and to help their kids understand that every moment is precious?
Well, they've got to talk to them about it. They've got to maybe show them pictures and stories of kids who maybe have died suddenly or who are in the hospital all the time. Talk to them about it and show them that really just because they can't do this or have the sleepover or eat the ice cream for dessert, you still have to be appreciative for everything because there are so many kids out there who have lives way worse than they do and lives way worse than I did. And I was always grateful that my life was really amazing for a kid with cancer.
Yeah. So, what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a veterinarian.
Awesome. And is Sophia, is she helping you kind of get to know how to treat animals and take care of them and all that?
Definitely. I actually finished Sophie's service dog training for about a year.
Wow.
With the help of a trainer.
Yeah.
Virtually. So I learned how to train her and learned how to take care of dogs, especially you really have to take care of poodles because their hair get into knots, so I have to brush her every day, and we have to bathe her often and shave her face and her paws and her tail often. like every 2 weeks.
That's so cool. Do you ever think of helping to train other service dogs for other kids?
I don't know. That would be fun. I think that would be fun.
I hope your mom's not mad that I put that idea into your head.
Not at all. Cassidy has a mind of her own, and the reality is that she's a wise kid who's with an old soul, and she has a billion ideas of how she wants to make the world a better place, and so we just let her run with it, and when she wants to do something, we try to support her as well as we can.
Yeah. Well, I know people out there are going to want to support you in your efforts. So where can people go to see some of those pictures and maybe bid on some of those paintings?
That's a great question. Right now, her dad and I are in the process of trying to figure out what we can do to set up a not-for-profit, but we aren't there yet. So
right now, it would be your Facebook.
Right now, it's all through either my Facebook page, which is Shannon Otto Stocker Stocker, where I will just do bids, or people can email me through my website
to
order. Yeah, sometimes when we've had a lot of people who have lost out on paintings who then have just said, hey, can I just commission her to do one? And they'll do that. Other people have said, a painting is great, but I just want to make a donation to her. And then we always send them receipts of what we've purchased with their funds so that they can claim them. But we need to get the not-for-profit going because she's done such a good job of that. People can also go to her YouTube page, which is Candid with Cassidy, Fireside Cancer Chats. And that's another way of
just subscribing to the channel,
of supporting her. Subscribe to the channel. You can go through and we talk about, we actually need to do another one. We were just talking about that yesterday. But Cassidy is very open with her heart and her experiences and her emotions. And that's been a very conscious decision that she made, both to help kids with cancer and kids who don't have cancer, either siblings of kids with cancer, just people to understand what it's like to be a kid with cancer.
Yeah. What's the best way for a kid in school who may not be your best friend, but heard this rumor that, there's this kid, Cassidy, and she's dealing with cancer, and what's the best way that kid can support you or somebody like you?
Just write a note or try to find them in school. Write a note, put it in their locker, say, hey, I'm here for you if you need help, because sometimes just knowing someone cares about you is the most important thing.
Well, Cassidy, I want to let you know that I care about you. And I was real excited to meet you when your mom told me about you. I said, I definitely want to have this young woman on the podcast. It's been a pleasure and an honor having you on the show. Can people, if they're in their own city or town, are they able to go and maybe contact a local children's hospital and say, hey, I was just inspired by this kid I saw I listened to on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Can I just buy gifts and bring them in to the kids at your hospital? Is that something you think they can do?
They used to be able to do it. I'm not sure if they're back to that point now, but with COVID, they haven't been able to, but I think they're going to get back there.
Okay.
And so it's a place where
you can always contact
with
Child Life.
Ask for a child life specialist at a hospital. Just ask the hospital, if you're not allowed to give gifts yet, ask when do you think we'll be able to? But I think because COVID is slowing down, then possibly it'll happen sooner. Maybe it's already happened.
Yeah. Awesome. Real quick, before we go, other than your mom, who's your favorite author?
Shannon Messenger.
All right. We'll have to check her out. We've had a wonderful, inspiring time speaking with Cassidy Stocker, a really, really special young woman. Hey, Cassidy, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids and will join us for the next episode of the show. If this episode made you smile or gave you something to think about or inspired you, please consider sharing a link to the show with someone you love. Leave a 5-star review, and of course, we'd love for you to subscribe to the show. We'd also love for you to connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at readingwithyourkids on Instagram, at JedleyMagic on X. Our YouTube channel, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids. And, of course, our website is readingwithyourkids.com. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Dr. Katerina Levi. Please be sure to check out The Healing Garden, a story about coping with childhood cancer. Also want to thank my friend Cassidy Stocker. Please check out giftsforgold.org. Giftsforgold.org. I'd love for you to support this mission. I'd also love for you just to find out more about it and find out more about Cassidy. What an amazing young woman, and what a great job she is doing. I want to thank my team, Chris Doherty, Jackson Saltolero. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so very much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place. And you do that every single time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.
Close your eyes for just a moment. What do you see inside your head? A place you've never been before, or something brave you've never said. Every dream begins so small, like a spark, a tiny light. But when you believe together high with a spark in our hearts. We reach for the sky. Hand in hand we're stronger, breaking every chain. Every smile, every laugh makes us dance in the rain. We're a tapestry of colors, woven so divine. When we stand up for each other, together we shine. Together we shine like stars in the night. Illuminate the darkness, oh so bright. We stand for our brothers, we stand for our friends. Together we rise, love knows no ends. Let's fly to the rhythm, everyone join in with open arms. Let the party begin. When the road gets rough and the skies turn gray, we find our light, chase the shadows away. Every voice is a treasure, a melody so pure. In this dance of acceptance, we find the cure. Lifting spirits higher, feeling so alive. In a world that embraces, we thrive and we strive. Together we shine like stars in the night. Illuminate the darkness, oh so bright. We stand for our sisters, we stand for our kin. Together we rise, love knows no ends. Let's fight to the rhythm, everyone join in with open arms. Let the party begin. We're all in this together. No one left behind, we'll dance forever. In this beautiful chaos, let your colors unfold. In the warmth of our hearts, we're brave and bold. So lift your chin up, let the world see your light. Together we shine, making every moment bright. Together we shine, making every moment bright. Together we shine like stars in the night. Illuminate the darkness, oh so bright. We stand for our brothers, we stand for our friends. Together we rise, love knows no ends. Let's fight to the rhythm, everyone join in with open arms. Let the party begin. Together we shine, together we play. Round and round, let's dance the night away. Every heart, every story, we make it our own. In this bright celebration, we found our home. With joy in our smiles, let love intertwine. In this beautiful world, together we shine.